The only not Mexican or Brazilian to make it into this season.
I'm really sad that my boy Turkey Dano didn't make it. Every season I have my hopes up. You get to see some cannon rushes, some void race. Guess it just wasn't meant to be.
Yeah, surprising too, given the patch, right? You would have thought that he's thriving with the void race right now.
I know. I expected 6.4k Turkey Dano.
Same.
I was like, he's gonna give Neve and Australia a run for his money in this patch, but
I was hoping. I was actually hyping him up at some point, and he was in the chat channel saying, "Nah, he didn't believe in himself hard enough." I think, buddy.
You know what I've realized? I never really thought about it, but battery overcharge has been a massive nerf to all the cannon rushes out there. Because, you know, when you cannon rush, there's so many close moments where, like, batteries are barely out of juice, and then normally you can break them with your cannons, and now all of a sudden they just overcharge, and Stalkers can stand there for 10 more HP, always be full on HP, never die, and it seems like a pretty big nerf to the cannon rushes.
That is a very good point. Not something that I had considered. But yeah, once an Immortal is out, if you have your overcharge ready, it's pretty much game over for the Cannon Rusher, right?
Exactly.
It's a difficult one. Let's see. eGGz is going to open with a few circlings moving across the map, trying to avoid the first Reaper. This is the trickiness that he wants to capitalize on, and it might just work. It's going to be close.
No.
Not avoided.
Well, maybe SpeCial was sleeping. Maybe SpeCial was taking a look at something in his main base, because for some reason the Reaper just completely ignored it. Now, obviously, there is a Marine on the way, but I still think that SpeCial's life would be so much easier if the Reaper was at home as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure why try to go up the ramp here. If you're eGGz, just start working on that CC right away. The Reaper will have to get pulled back, and it's going to be a little while until... Oh, the Reaper's not even pulling back. This is a little of a big mistake by SpeCial, who's now going to have to pull SCVs in order to contest this area.
Okay. Oh, and he actually loses one of the Marines. Yes, not immediately, but does end up losing it in the end. Loses quite a bit of mining time here. I mean, I still feel like eGGz needs a little bit more, right? Like, exactly, get one more SCV. And he will. Well done.
Yeah, this is very early losses for SpeCial, and uncharacteristically, his Reaper wasn't doing anything either. It was just idle for a little while. It jumps into the main, but once eGGz doesn't have anything else to do but to look at the Reaper. So a little bit sloppy on the side of SpeCial, really not 100% in the game, it seems.
Yep, and even a drone just casually running towards the third, right, for eGGz and getting a hatchery there as well. Normally, that's already annoying. Look at eGGz, he's going for a 3-minute and 30-second roach warn. He's like, I saw my good friend Chamiko make a couple of roaches run to the other side of the map. What, isn't that good? Chamiko?
Chamaco, close enough.
Chamaco, okay. Yeah. Very close. What can I say? Spanish is not my strong suit, mate. And he's like, I'm going to try the same as well.
Yeah, and I like it because Cham was doing this after falling behind to the Reaper. eGGz is kind of taking the opposite approach. He's saying, I'm ahead, I'm going to try to snowball this advantage. And I like it. I mean, the shorter you make the game and capitalize on those early leads, the more I'll believe that eGGz stands a chance. Right now, I think this game, I'd give him like 30%, you know?
Yeah, no, it really looks kind of promising, especially because SpeCial is not aware of it, and it's also making Hellions, not exactly the dream unit against roaches. So this can actually go really well for our man eGGz, especially because SpeCial's also making a Liberator, and obviously Liberators can be useful, but a Banshee would be way more useful. This could really work.
Yeah, absolutely. The Ravagers are going to have an easy time with Liberators if there are Ravagers to be made, though I don't think that's the case. I think this is a Roach Ling all-in based on the amount of gases that eGGz has. I don't know that he can do anything else, or maybe even just defensive Roaches at this point. He's droning up. Oh.
Okay. I mean, not the worst call. There is a Widow Mine drop in the natural, though, and that mine is going to get a decent shot off. I mean, you don't often see 4 random Marines doing some damage as well in the main base, but there is a lot of SCVs going down on the other side of the map. SpeCial is indeed just not awake. I mean, it is very early in Korea. Maybe he had a long night, maybe an exhausting in-real live stream. I don't know what Kuenito has been doing last night, but he is not very sharp right now.
He really isn't. I mean, like, that was like a 6 or 8 lane run by that wasn't cleaned up for like 30 seconds or something, and they just really had their way at the natural of SpeCial. Look at the supply as eGGz pulls further and further ahead. He's gonna push out with his roaches, maybe reinforce with circlings, but yeah, we'll see if SpeCial can equalize things with the Liberator.
I mean, there's obviously a wall off right now, so it's a little bit hard to bust that. There's only a single tank, though. Like, if it wasn't for that tank, Junito would have absolutely nothing. The Liberator is going to get a couple of kills on the bottom side of the map. There's a lot of kills happening right now. How are so many drones dying? What? To what?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what the drones died to. The Liberator only got a couple of kills. There's a medevac coming back, so maybe it was the Widow Mine must have been it. I can't think of anything else that would take out that many drones so suddenly.
There was only one mine. Yeah, maybe the mine just fired again in the natural?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what it had to be, I think. Now, yeah, another thing that isn't as consistent as Cham's attack is this map is larger, and we've been talking about this throughout the day. You pointed out how attacking up a ramp is a lot more difficult, right? Especially when you're going up against tanks and the likes. It's going to be harder because you need that vision. And yeah, eGGz not really finding what he was looking for. So SpeCial kind of stabilizing. This is a weird drop, Roddy.
Is it a double tank drop?
Yeah.
I mean, we know what Immortus and a War Prism can do. Why not give it a bad shot with 2 tanks and a medevac?
We'll find out what they can do. The Liberator is going to fly into the natural, but eGGz is paying attention this time around. Here's the tanks. All right, I mean, the Roaches are going to be ready to react. And the tank drop is going to have to pull back for the time being.
SpeCial's doing his best Protoss impression over here. It's like, well, it works better with Immortals, you know, slightly more tanky, more range. They've got barriers and slightly easier to pick up as well.
Yeah, and they deal a lot more damage as well to the likes of Roaches, whereas the tanks are really just weird. But I like that he's trying to use whatever he feels safe up this ramp. Though imagine if eGGz had decided for some reason, you know, to have his army out and just saw the tanks and attack, that might have been it too. So it's a little bit, well, it's another queen actually.
Yeah, at the same time, we do have Zerglings being very annoying again on the other side of the map, though. I gotta say, eGGz is really making this a fun game. He's just doing whatever he can, and we all know that SpeCial's obviously the superior player, but eGGz is in a more than playable spot, and he's going to have a devastating amount of... I'm picking Hydras and Lurkers, I guess, right now. I would kind of like to see him just go for a mass roach attack. Why the hell not?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Maybe it's that ramp. Maybe it's the I mean, that attack on the high ground, for example, very difficult to dislodge with the likes of Roaches. This is a very strong triangular position that SpeCial is taking.
Oh my god.
But yeah, I mean, I'm not sure. I really wouldn't mind him just pushing in. He's pushing in like you were saying, Roddy, and he's gonna take a lot of SCVs here and force the lift off. All of a sudden, I don't mind the transition. Yeah.
No, now the transition makes perfect sense because he's already ready for the next phase. He's once again dealing a decent amount of economic damage. At this point, SpeCial's only mining of 2 mineral lines. Oh my goodness. We were all so wrong. Wardy tried to catch up. He should have believed in eGGz.
He really should have. I mean, this has been a great game from eGGz so far. From beginning to end. SpeCial definitely a little bit sloppier than we're used to seeing from him. But to eGGz credit, I mean, these link pokes have been amazing. Taking the small risk to try and avoid the Reaper, though that didn't work. It ended up working out anyway. As in the Reaper spotted the links, but SpeCial didn't react, right? So a few blunders, but combined with the great capitalizing of the situation from eGGz have put him in a very strong position.
Yeah, eGGz really loves Zergling run-bys. I remember that from playing against him. He just never stops trying, and this game, it really has been paying off. There's a little drop, finding some damage on the left side. 5 drones do go down, and I believe his spine crawler got picked up as well. eGGz is going to try indeed go for one of the Zergling run-bys. It's hard to go for a run-by when the entire army is there.
Yeah, that is one thing that eGGz is going to need to look out for is this medevac pokes. He either needs better vision across the map or to just have his army in sections where they can defend. You see like 5 Roaches at the main would do it. There's 4 Roaches now coming to the main. So that's good. eGGz has the presence of mind to already be accounting for this medevac. That's exactly what he needs to do. The army of SpeCial moves in the left side of the map as eGGz army moves through the right. So I think when eGGz sees this, okay, I think he had the possibility, the chance to just push on the issue. Instead, he's going to go back to defend. That might cost him a hatchery, Roddy.
Yeah, he's going to send a couple of Roaches into the natural, but it's simply not enough. There are 3 tanks there for SpeCial. At the same time, his hatchery is taking a lot of damage. I mean, the fight at home might go decent, but he's losing so many Roaches on the other side of the map. Ends up losing the hatchery as well. And SpeCial has pretty much done it at this point. He has clawed his way back into this game. There was a drop in the back of the natural as well, finding some more damage. And that's a lot of bio with a lot of DPS.
Yeah, it really is. It's such a difficult decision to make because you're both halfway across the map, right? At that point, maybe you give away that base. Ideally, if X could have planned for this, he would already have an extra fourth or slash fifth situated. He has the resources to do that. So very little tweaks here and there would have put him in a great position, I think. But as it stands, I mean, his attack fails and he takes damage. And now SpeCial is in control again.
He clearly wasn't looking, because I was taking a look at the natural special, but he just kind of flicked up the ramp and they hogged the depots, and there were 3 tanks on the left side just waiting away. He could have at least killed those 3 tanks if he really would have just gone for it, because there was no protection for those tanks. At this point, SpeCial is just running rampage in his main base, picking up the infestation pit as well. There is a Viper on the way, and there is 1 Viper out already, but I think we all know when you're working with Roaches and Ravages, and it's not Lurkers and it's not Banelings, the longer this goes, the better it will be for the Terran player.
Yeah, definitely so. I mean, the Vipers are really nice. If you can get a few of those, then, you know, there's moves to be made against tanks, against those medevacs. At least they won't be so free to be out on the map. And SpeCial is actually pushing out. I'm not sure if he knows about the Vipers. There is an opportunity here, perhaps, for Eggs if he can get really good blinding clouds. We'll see what he can do.
Yeah, I mean, they need to be fantastic. They really need to cover like every single tank. All the tanks are very clumped up. Those are very good blinding clouds. You need another blinding cloud in the bio as well. X! No, blinding clouds will run out, and the tanks will still be able to get a couple of massive shots off, but pretty good fight by X, but I'm afraid it was not good enough.
Yeah, it could have definitely been better. I mean, the second blinding cloud onto the bio, maybe you just hold it for the tanks for the second time around. And the biles, you could have been a little bit more daring, maybe walk towards the clamp where you hit 3 or 4 tanks rather than just the one that's closest and SpeCial. Looks like he's gonna be able to push on through. All the medevacs have survived. Here's the reinforcements for Egg, however, as he has something to say, and okay, he'll push the army back.
Well done by Axe. I mean, those were sick blinding clouds. I don't know if you're gonna get those again, though. So the next fight, I mean, it would be fantastic if you could get a couple of lurkers going. He did have a lurker then, right? I'm not sure. No, he doesn't. Did he lose it?
Yeah, information is really key there. I mean, obviously, SpeCial didn't know about the blinding cloud, so that's what allows Eggs to get the perfect one, and now he knows, so he's not going to be making the same mistake. With that said, the tank count has been reset, so that's kind of good for Eggs as he pushes on forward. No infestors or blinding clouds this time around, so he's gonna have to just pull back.
X really is playing an awesome game, going for another little roach run by, getting 11 more SCVs. He's gonna try to return the favor though on the bottom side and getting a couple of drones, but not that many, and Hydra should be able to shut down the medevac as well, so at least these bio units won't get out of there. I mean, not bad for X, as he is buying time. I mean, the Lurker then is finishing up.
Yeah, not bad at all. He's situating a 5th base as well. Like you said, the Lurker then is there, and he started the transition very early on, so we still have those Vipers to work with as well. Well, it's just the 1 Viper, but 3 more on the way, and that's gonna be useful. He's keeping up in upgrades more or less too.
This is awesome. I gotta say, I didn't expect it. Look at that, he's getting a Nidus network. He's like, you know what, I'm gonna style on SpeCial a little bit. I'm gonna pop a couple Niduses in his main, unload a couple Lurkers. That'd be awesome. Ooh, gotta be careful with the drones though on the left side.
That would be really awesome. And you know what? Like this sensor tower is kind of misplaced to where X has a free route for the Overlord to go into the main, though he already has one in the very back. So yeah, this could be very strong, especially if you can Nidus Lurkers onto the production of the Terran. It's just kind of lights out. It's so difficult to get rid of.
3-3 bios finishing up, but he's not going to be able to take out this hatchery. SpeCial is doing a really good job right now, getting a couple of Liberators set up on the left side of the map as well, and that means that this hatchery will be forfeited. But maybe we can get that one Nidus into the main base, and we can get those Lurkers out. We've got quite a few Lurkers, right? It's 8 Lurkers at this point. All right, there we go.
Yeah, that's gonna be a huge moment. SpeCial hasn't noticed yet.
Oh,
he really hasn't been. There's the Marauder now being stimmed. Will it be enough to kill the Nidus? There's only 3 units. I'm not sure. Yeah, it's gotta be barely enough.
A Marauder with stim is always enough. I love how X is like, you know what? I'm just gonna Nidus again right next to it. He'll never see it coming.
Yeah, not the cleanest play there. And now with those sensor towers coming up, the Nidus also being revealed, the X is kind of running low on options. I'm very surprised he didn't try to at least take that fight to save his fifth base. He definitely had enough units, but those two Liberators really pulling way too much of his attention away, and SpeCial is gonna once again take a hefty lead here.
Yeah, he probably panicked a little bit, and we can't really blame him for it. X is gonna try his luck one more time, this time with a Nidus in the natural, and I don't see any units making its way over to the natural. All right, now SpeCial realized, but this one was very late. I guess Marauders would sim. Well,
yeah. Not enough would be able to get out, and this Overseer still trying to do what it can. Meanwhile, SpeCial looking for a high pickoff potentially. 2 Hydras are not, or 4 Hydras are not going to be enough DPS to stop these Marines, and they will take down the Hive. SpeCial very diligently as well, sending just a very small contingent of Marines to prevent further expansions from eGGz, who is now down to 3 bases against the 4 of SpeCial.
Yeah, SpeCial's done a great job in this kind of picking eGGz apart one by one, base after base. Quite a few drones have gone down, and all of a sudden you look at Juanito's army, and that is a monstrous army. He's got so many goals, he's got a lot of tanks as well. Another Nidus tries to go up in the main base, but I feel like if there's one thing that SpeCial doesn't do very often, it's F2ing his units out of position. So he just kind of left a little anti-Nidus squad in the back of his main. Radiant B as well on the Vipers.
Yeah, and with that many tanks not being blinding clouded, I think we're seeing the last engagement here from eGGz. He played a very good game, but SpeCial just out multitasking him and getting the better of him in all the little exchanges, right? And all of a sudden he has ghosts and 30 tanks by the time you want to attack him, and it's just a little bit too much.
Yeah, that was really fun though. I gotta say, eGGz made that a proper fun game. I love how he just kept finding the courage to send more roaches into middle lines and get a couple of SCVs here and there. At one point, when he turned his entire army around, like he split up those 10 roaches, right? That he just kind of ran into the natural, and they were blocked by depots, and then the tanks cleaned them up. I feel like if he would have just sent even more units towards the top side and just kind of send a little bit back home and then try to defend with reinforcements, I actually think he easily kills those 3 tanks, and then he kills 20 plus SCVs as well, because there was 0 bio protecting those tanks and all those SCVs. I think then it would have been a very difficult game for SpeCial, because then he's basically not mining anymore, right? Like your main is always going to run out very quickly, as a triple CC Terran that was forced to lift up once or twice as well. It would have been cool. Would have been really fun to see.
Yeah, I'm absolutely with you. I think that it's very difficult to be the player that decides to pull back, because you're essentially just giving your opponent free reign until you get back, right? So it's in that position. I think if he just pushes on forward and gets on top of the production of SpeCial, he could make the game a lot more awkward. And like you're saying, just send a small group of units and wait for reinforcements. Lose a base back at home.
Exactly.
Because if you get back on top of that production, then you win the game pretty much. So a little bit of indecision there, but like you said, eGGz played a great game. Very cool Ling Rambice. And he definitely made SpeCial work for it.
Yeah, SpeCial does, or did look a little bit sloppy. Obviously, in the beginning of the game, somehow not spotting the Zerglings with his Reaper, even though it wasn't just like a split second. It was actually like a full second that the Reaper had vision on a couple of slow Zerglings, but he didn't notice it. And then later on as well, when he was trying to buy time with his Marines on the right side, you could see that he was derping a bit, and he was trying to pick them up. Didn't work. Tried to go up the ramp, misclicked. So it wasn't super clean on the side of SpeCial, but it gave us a very fun game.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's kind of what we need for eGGz to really display. We were talking about how it's not fun to watch players that are terribly unmatched. I feel like this is kind of strategically and tactically that eGGz is well on par with SpeCial, at least as of that last game, but just mechanically not able to keep up, right? And as the game extends, all of those little exchanges seem to have been a little bit too much for eGGz to deal with, where 2 Liberators are doing a little bit too much, pulling too much army, and it gets difficult from there.
In the bottom left side, we look at the main base of the man who just introduced the double tank harass in TGZ. Hailing from Mexico, currently living in Korea, it is SpeCial.
And from Colombia, it is eGGz. Playing for Alpha X Latin American Division. Pretty cool stuff. Pretty cool stuff. Colombia has actually my favorite restaurant in the world. I love Colombia. It's a cool country.
What's the name of the restaurant?
Andrés Carne de Res, Roddy.
Oh, is it in Bogota?
It's near Bogota, like 1 hour out, but it's super worth. There's like actors. It's kind of weird. It's kind of a weird experience, but it's really cool.
Sounds super fun. I have unfortunately never been. Would love to go one day.
Yeah. If you do, definitely hit up Andres Carneres or anyone watching. Now there is
there is like one person out there. It's like, I've been to that restaurant. It's really good.
Yeah. It's probably like ex-brother that's watching from Colombia, you know, like, oh yeah, Colombia, Andres Carneres. I mean, there's not very many people from Colombia. Like Brazil is strong, Mexico strong, Peru has been traditionally strong for StarCraft. I've never seen very many Colombians though.
Nope, X trying to change it, and he's been around for a while, right? And like, I don't really want to use the word up and comer because X has been just a solid, good player for quite some time. But it is really hard to make that final jump. Obviously, there aren't too many local tournaments he can participate in, and he's always going to have to practice with quite a bit of lag because Colombia to, I don't know where the Central American server is, but let's say Chicago, that's quite some distance. So I'm sure that X is always going to be forced to play with at least 120 ping, if not more than that.
Yes, indeed. SpeCial is going to be scouting relatively early and will scout that there is indeed a pull first on the side of Eggs. Eggs has done a good job of splitting his Zerglings, only showing 2. So the Reaper is going to go on a wild goose chase onto those two Zerglings, but there's another 2 Zerglings going back behind SpeCial. SpeCial is going to catch wind of it, however, or the possibility of it. And this is a much stronger defense than last time.
Yep, but obviously the Roach Warren is a lot quicker than last time as well. So this time it's a much bigger commitment. Because last game we really felt that if X would have just gone for the early Roach all-in, that it would have done really well, right? Against the heavy Hellion Liberator opening that SpeCial was doing. Obviously that's not something that X could have possibly known, but we knew in the end. It seemed like he's going for some sort of a Bly opening where you just kind of rally like 4 or 5 Roaches to the other side of the map. You try to kill a couple SCVs and then you drone up behind it. I gotta admit, I'm not a very big fan of these openings, but let's see what X can do.
Yeah, I mean, they're weird openings. I don't know. I don't mind them. Bly somehow makes them work. Jaedong did stuff like this sometimes where he would especially like morph like 2 or 3 Ravagers. But on this map, I mean, up the ramp, you don't like the Jaedong reference there?
I have never seen Jaedong morph a Ravager in my life.
Really? I think Jaedong morphed, or was it maybe just 4 Roach squads?
Yeah, I don't think there were Ravagers in the heart of the swarm, mate.
Oh, you're right about that. So it must have been just 4 Roach squads, but Jaedong did do stuff like this. Okay, I'm certain of that.
Rain make a couple of great disruptor hits as well. I don't know why he retired.
Fair enough. All right, so we see a bunker on the high ground. So SpeCial not taking this lightly. It's gonna be a little poke with just the 2 Ravagers. I mean, they're looking for a supply depot. They're looking to deny mining on this low ground. The Cyclone is just about the best response, though, on the Terran side of things, as it will allow them to get rid of 1 unit at a time. And if SpeCial is careful, then, you know, no harm should come to that Cyclone.
I would like to see X at least try to keep his Ravager alive, and I do think if you just send that 1 Ravager back, you keep the 2 Roaches and the 1 Ravager in the front, then the Cyclone is going to have to break the lock-on. But since he was just moving all of his units in one big clump, it was very easy for SpeCial to stay in range of the lock-on, and Ravagers are pretty expensive in this phase in the game.
Yeah, in most phases of the game, it's underlooked how expensive they are. They cost as much as a Muta, exactly, so... And maybe more because they're more supply as well. So technically, 12 minerals more.
Wait, because it's 1 more supply, it costs 12 minerals more?
12.5 to be exact, but yeah. Like if you were to quantify the cost of an Overlord or a supply depot and split it between...
Oh my god! It's too late for me to I was like, how are you going to justify this one, Kat? I was like, oh my god.
It's just math, Roddy.
It's not like he wouldn't build the Overlord otherwise.
Yeah, but there is an inherent cost to supply. It's minimum. It's, you know, maybe not the most important thing to talk about, but as far as we're making a comparison to a Muta, it's technically a little bit more expensive.
Yeah, because Mutas don't need Overlords, right?
They need one less supply.
Yeah, you need it. Okay, you win, Kat. You win.
I'm not trying to win here, Roddy. I'm just saying.
I give up. I waved the white flag. SpeCial
right,
is
there's
gonna
another two. Yeah.
yeah, a double tank drop. With this time, it is assisted by 8 Marines in the medevac. No?
Yeah, that's a lot tastier. And another actually
Yeah.
full medevac. This is pretty cool. Rarely ever do you see basically a mini Doom drop, and that's exactly what we're seeing from SpeCial.
It's a nice mix of everything, right? It's a bunch of Marines. There's a Cyclone in the mix as well. Those 2 Roaches in the main base, they won't stand a chance. And SpeCial scans, and now all of the units are out of position. We saw X drop a corrosive ball as well in the middle of nowhere. X is in a lot of trouble, and if all of these tanks siege up, oh my goodness, X is going to take a beating here.
Yeah, at the same time, it's very difficult for SpeCial to get out of this position. X is actually going to use all the drones. I'm not sure that he needed to do that. He's going to lose 15 workers in the process. And SpeCial actually manages to even save the tanks. Beautiful moves by the Mexican as he kills 17 workers with his poke.
Yeah. And look how low HP the remaining drones are. I feel like SpeCial could have maybe killed a few more. In the beginning of the drop, he actually still had 4 Marines stuck in one of the medevacs. So if he would have unloaded those immediately, I think he would have done slightly more damage even.
Yeah, yes, indeed. We are going to see what Eggs can do. He's trying to at least deny or delay this third base. This could be the best possible move. There's not very many units here, but once those 2 extra tanks siege, it's going to get a lot harder. And here they go. Here comes Eggs, though. There's no buffer for these tanks. Where's the balance? There's 1, 2.
It's not a good fight, man. It's never going to be a good fight. I mean, he gets a tank, which is nice, but he's going to lose like all of his units, and he has no economy at home.
Yeah.
Gets all 3 tanks, so that's kind of cool, and somehow managed to get 4 SCVs as well, but obviously Stim is done for these Marines. I mean, I gotta say, not that bad, but the thing is, X lost too many units. He has 38 drones. Like, if you have 38 drones, you need to have very convincing victories, and that was kind of like a sort of victory, just not good enough.
Yeah, I think it could have gone even a little bit better, just if he focus fired a little bit better, if he landed the corrosive vials onto the same tank and whatnot, kind of like what he's doing now, but now he's going up against this bio, which is really the real DPS, so he's gonna lose a lot of those units, and things are getting harder and harder for X from here on, though he did reset the tank count, which is not nothing.
That was really cool. I don't know if it was on purpose or not, but he sent a changeling on the top side, so the tank actually shot at the changeling, and right on that moment he brought the Roaches and Ravages in range. X really making the best of, honestly, what's not much, right? He's got a couple of Roaches and a few Ravages. Now the medevacs are out of position. Once again, he's really going for it. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that is very surprising. I would not have moved down that ramp, but X knows better, and he's actually gonna kill another tank and reset things once again. He's also denying the mining from SpeCial, but the big problem, the big underlying problem is he's this entire time on just 38 workers to the 53 of Juan.
Yep. If he was doing this of like 65 drones, it'd be like, hey, this is pretty good, man. Like, the next attack could be devastating, but Roaches are cheap. I don't know how cheap exactly when you put in like the Overlord cost as well, but they're very cheap, but they're not this cheap that you can keep doing this of 37 drones. X does get 1 more tank, but at this point, all the barracks are up and